All right, so this is the idea, okay? Dragging a audio to the track header creates either a MIDI track or an audio track. Instrument track only makes sense is if I'm just using a generator, but you can also use samples, so this needs to be renamed to MIDI. So in my opinion, so MIDI track. So if I want to create an instrument track, MIDI track, it creates a pattern here. Now this pattern should be called pattern A, not pattern 1. And then if I have this and I hit Control G, this needs to be pattern B. This needs to be track track lane 1, right? So now if I want to drop an audio here, it gives me this. Instrument tracks are not for audio clips. Okay, so what? FL Studio's never been blocked from putting audio or anything anywhere, so this shouldn't even be popped up. It should just drag it in there. The thing is, it creates it here, which is fine, whatever. I mean, I'm cool with that, but some people want it there, which is fine too. But if I was to drag this audio here, then we need a pop-up of this, just this right here, the track number selector, and giving us the option where to route it to for this lane. That way it doesn't route to what that instrument track is, and you can still have it anywhere. And this would be audio clip A for track lane 1. Now if I was to drop this here and create an audio track, this is lane 2, audio clip A. If I was to make this unique and bring it over here, this would be audio clip B for lane 2. So lane 1, lane 2, header 1, header 2. And that way the patterns can always stay here because the pattern will be unique for this lane. It'd still all be routed to here. Whatever's inside of this pattern, if you have different channels here and they're playing just in this pattern, it would automatically route to whatever those whatever you want them to be. They're just not linked. only whenever you make an audio or instrument track, the first pattern should be colored and named. Even here, it should be, this should be pattern A for lane 1. This would be audio clip for if I was to make another instrument track. All right, so here, this is pattern A for lane 3. These the track headers should be wherever these are. So if I move this one down here to track 6, then this needs to move down here to insert 6. And all the patterns that's in that are freely to use anywhere. I hope that makes sense. So like whenever I run out of track headers and I can't name them anymore, so let's say I get all the way down to 125, which is the limit as of right now, and I put a sample here and I create an instrument track here or audio track or whatever, then this is taken up on the mixer on 25. Okay, So if I drop another sample on 126 and I don't have any more mixer spots free, then here in that box right there, it needs to come up of which track you want to link it to. And this becomes track lane 126, but it's linked to track whatever. You get what I mean? So it's just gonna be a freely track. It's not gonna be linked to anything in particular as an audio lane. Audio lanes will only go up to whatever the mixer insert is to keep things organized. Uh, for the time being. Uh, but you can still be able to route it anywhere you want. It's just not going to be a header. It's not going to be a track lane. It's not going to be linked to a header. It's just going to be from there on out. It's going to be just routed anywhere you want it to be. And that's what I'm saying. So it needs to be. We need to be able to have it all go up to 125 until more are added or whatever. That way, the patterns here stay uh they stay organized and colored and everything. So if I okay, so I'll show you. So if I drop this here and create an instrument track, and then I rename this kick, all right, kick, and I give it a color, which in my opinion, this and this is all unnecessary right here. What what we need on everything, okay, let me just stop this real quick. What we need everything is this right here. So if I was to color all these, we need this box everywhere in FL Studio. This one right here. And then with all this spruce, move this stuff right here down here. And then in this area right here needs to be a rename dialog box. And only this right here pop up anywhere in FL Studio. Don't need all these other uh, little boxes everywhere with name here, and then you gotta click on it. And this is the only box we need right here with a typing naming thing in here also. Just right here at the top. Just type in your name, choose a color, and then just hit accept and then be done with it. It shouldn't be anywhere else. This should be the only thing that pops up for renaming color anywhere in FL Studio. So just get that out of the way. But anyway, so let's say I want to rename and color this, okay? So click this, give it a color, hit accept there, then accept here again. Auto name, I got auto naming now. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. The whole auto name should just happen automatically. This naming this should be called kick. All right, after I name this needs to just go ahead. As soon as I name this one here kick, this needs to be named kick. Pattern one needs, or pattern A is what I want to call it. Pattern A needs to be called kick right here. Okay, so now I got all that linked in there. This is kick. The channel rack is kick here. All right, and so now if I have a pattern going on, let's delete this, and I got a pattern going on here. All right, and then I just control B this out, okay? And then I decide to go ahead and shift what is it, shift B plus B and drag and let go to make unique. I could do that, or I could highlight these and control G, which I like to do a lot. And now this needs to be kick B right here. So this one needs to be renamed. Whenever you make a new one, whenever you make a new pattern for this track lane, this needs to be, instead of kick number 2, it needs to be kick B. Like this. An auto name. If you hit auto name clips, it just changes and messes everything up again. So this needs to be kick B. And then if I was to make this unique, I make this unique, it don't need to be kick B number 2. What it needs to be is, it needs to be not oops, not that. It needs to be renamed. As soon as I do that, it needs to be renamed kick C. Just like this, and so forth and so on for this lane. All right. And then when I click on this lane, all these need to disappear, and I need to be seeing track lane number 2. So whenever I make this, and I make an instrument track, and I rename this clap, and then I go ahead and give it a color, which that box should just come up automatically, and I give it a color, and I hit OK. The pattern here should already be named. It should already be colored. It should already be colored and named clap. So I have to click here and do this. All right, so there it is. So now all this right here, all these right here should go ahead and be in a group for track lane 1. So I shouldn't be seeing these right here. If I'm focused on this one, then all I should be seeing is the track lane for clap. That's it. I shouldn't be seeing none of the kick here. All in this right here should just be the clap. And then when I want to sit here and then let's say, I don't know what I did. I did that because I don't have nothing in the pattern. Okay. So maybe if I add 2 of these and make unique, maybe this should go up like this to where it's supposed to be. So in other words, if I have my clap going on here, there, and then I drag this out like this, and then I control G, you see it keeps the size of the pattern there. It should do that even if there's nothing in the clip here. It should just automatically keep the size. Even if the clip is empty, it should automatically make unique to an empty clip of that many steps, if I want it to be that many steps. So if I was to, but anyway, that's a different topic though. All right, so right here, I don't need this one. Where's this one at? That one was deleted. Okay. So, and that's another thing. If something is not used, just take it off. If I've already done it here. But say I want to. As soon as I make this first one, and then I make this unique, this new pattern here should be named clap B. This is pattern B for lane 2. And when this is on focus, all I should be able to see is just what's ever in this lane right here. And you see it stays lane 1, lane 2, insert 1, insert 2. Whatever's in the lane is unique. So if I'm on clap B here, and then I have some kicks in here, that's fine. You could still do that. It's still fine. because those kicks that you're using is already linked to insert one. They're still going to play out of insert one even though they're on this pattern, but it's still going to be clap pattern B for lane 2. All right. Now, if I want to drag just an audio clip in here, it tells me I can't because this is an instrument track. So it links it to a new one here. So if it does this, it needs to go ahead and rename this to whatever the file is until I rename it. So this is automatically going to be, this automatically should route to 3 if it's on a new track lane. But if I don't, since it's not letting me put it on, it's not letting me drag it onto an instrument track, then from here it should just go ahead and let me, kind of how I'm using different channels in this pattern here, but this should be called an audio clip A for lane 2. So I mean, you could still name it and it be named whatever it is, but if you clone it, then from that clone, from that make unique of that sample, it's going to be whatever that sample name is, sample B, sample C, sample D of track lane 2. That's what I'm saying. So if I have this here and I rename this and I just again, that dialog box needs to come up no matter where it's at, and I give it a name and I hit OK, and then I give this a audio sample lane 2. That's what that is. It's in lane 2. Even though it's not routed anywhere, it's still a part of this track lane until I route it somewhere. So whenever I drag the audio on here, in this box right here, it should come up, where would you like the audio to be routed? Not, it can't be routed here, because it's never been like that in FL Studio. Y'all are making things like you're limiting us on what it needs to do when it should still be working freely anywhere you want. That's what I'm saying. So here, instead of saying this, it can't be on this track, it needs to pop up this box right here, this track selector, and give you the option to route it anywhere you want, even with whatever clap is, even if you're on lane 2, the clap, it should still be able to route to that track, but it's not linked to anything. It's not linked to a name or anything. So if you're going to put audio on a MIDI track or an audio track and you don't want it to be part of that lane, then it should be disconnected that way. That way you can just name that piece of audio and color it whatever you want, but it would still be there for your own personal organization purposes. And it's still not in a linear workflow, but it is. It's like you're working in a linear workflow, but you can also bring in stuff the old way and put it anywhere you want. The only difference is it's more organized of how you do it. It's not just putting stuff anywhere and everywhere and then losing it. If you, in other words, you're only going to lose it because you're putting it there to begin with. So if you lose it, that's on you because you decided to put it there and not make an audio and instrument track. You want it there for a purpose, and that's what I'm saying. It should just come up right here, like, where would you like this audio to be routed since it's on an instrument track? It's on an instrument track lane. And audio is not the same thing. Okay, that's fine. So maybe you don't just want a piece of audio as a reverse or something just for that area or whatever. That's fine. Give it a color, put it on, have a track selector here, and put it on any of the 125 mixer inserts you want to. It's just not going to be linked to anything, and it's not going to be if you make this unique, that's not going to be linked to anything either. You'll have to be uh you'll have to be you'll have to link it to something by yourself again. It so after you do that and you set the instrument track, just go ahead and hit okay. So now if that does pop up and as part of the option and it does move it to a new lane, then this lane right here should automatically make a new audio track. It should also make a new audio track lane. So instead of me going down here and going here, which this is just useless for me. Like, I mean, it not really, but it kind of is. It's like a waste of time right here. It's like y'all are trying to do 100 different things in different ways, which, I mean, it's whatever. But okay, so if that dialog box comes up and it drops it onto a new track here, just create a new audio track lane, and then just call this one whatever you want to name it. Uh if you want to name this here, you could even name this kick B or kick A or C here, but it would still be lane 3 kick B. Even if I want to put like just name it something else, or kick B, you got kick A, kick B, okay? And give it a different color here. Auto name clips. So now this audio clip is unique to this lane. So if I copy this out, this one right here will become, and you could do that too. Like you could keep it like that since it's go. You could keep if you have it something named with the alphabet letter in it, you could do that. Rename it kick B. Uh, since you already have it like this, kick B, and it could be kick B like underscore B, or like a underscore 2, like this. And that way you could keep it like that if you have an alphabet in the letter of the track lanes here, just to keep it organized. You could think of something to do, but I think that'd be like a good idea. And then if I was to take these out here and then control G, this one right here will go ahead, instead of saying consolidated, which I don't think it should be in there in that, you could just go ahead and do kick B underscore track lane pattern C, just like this, or whatever you want to name it. It doesn't the names are irrelevant because the patterns are going to be linked to the track lane. That's what I'm saying. But you get what I'm saying here. Now, another thing is another issue. Okay, so if I highlight all these mixer inserts, all right, and then I go here and I go to my chant mixer presets here or whatever, and I drag them in here, and they all link up. But I'm not going to do that because it takes a second. So instead, what I'm going to do is just grab a parametric EQ2, and I'm going to put this here, and it's going to put one on every mixer insert, all 125. Takes a minute. Okay. All right. Now, if I drag an audio to track header one, track one here, look, no, I want to create an instrument track. No available mixer tracks was found. Why? Like, putting something on the mixer should not have any effect when creating audio or instrument tracks, period. Like, that shouldn't even be an option. You should still be able to put that, it should still link to the mixer track no matter if there's anything on that mixer insert or not. So, this is like what it does, it just puts it in the channel rack and doesn't route it to anything. See, that part I think needs to be reworked. It needs it still needs to you still need to be able to make either an audio track or instrument track. It doesn't matter what's on the mixer. Uh Not at all. That shouldn't matter. It should still link it to that mixer regardless of what's on it. That's already on the mixer because of template template reasons. What if I want to make a template with all the plugins that I use all the time on the mixer, but now I can't make instrument or audio tracks because the mixer's full. So, I think that should be looked at. Uh, and also, like I was saying, whenever you use all 125 tracks to keep things named and organized, because the patterns that are made for the track lanes should automatically be named to whatever you drop on the track header. That pattern should be named automatically, but any pattern that you make within that track lane should then change accordingly. Like, uh, drop audio, drop kick on the track playlist track lane one on the header makes the first pattern the name of whatever you dropped, the file that you dropped on that lane on the track header, and then from there on out making that pattern unique or adding whatever. Then that next pattern should be the same name but a pattern B for track lane 1, track lane 2, and so forth and so on. That way, because if you're just making the original audio unique, then the audio is still going to be routed. The clap is still going to be routed to lane 1. It's still going to be routed to lane 1. Then what you can do, if you want to have the same clap twice, you can drag that clap again on to the track lane, uh, to the actual track lane, and it give you the option to route it back to that insert or to a different one. That way you can use the same clap for different things in the mixer. You don't have to have them all linked to the same lane, only that one that you dropped on the header. That way things can stay organized. That's what I'm saying. So I hope I made that clear, guys. I don't I think it needs a little bit of improvement, and it could still work in a unlinear fashion, just more organized. You know, you could still have MIDI and audio clips anywhere you want. Like if I was to drop a generator, like if I okay, let's say go back up, and I have an audio lane here, and I made this audio lane here. All right, and this first one right here is audio clip A. All right, so that's what that'd be named. Okay, now if I take a generator uh, like this, so if I take a generator and whatever, and I put this here, it does nothing. It does nothing here. Okay, so if I drag this generator to this track lane, what it needs to do is create a MIDI clip. It needs to create like an empty pattern clip. It needs to create an empty pattern clip, and then that generator needs to go ahead and be added to the channel rack. As and once I bring this over and drop it here to this track lane, then I should get that dialog box saying, instrument tracks are not the same as audio tracks. Where would you like to route it to? And then give me the track selector of where I want to route that MIDI clip to within the mixer or wherever it needs to go. Or if I want to create a new track lane, if I want to create a new instrument track lane, and then have the patterns unique for that lane go on. So if I drop it onto the audio track lane and I don't want to route it anywhere, then I can just route it freely without linking it to the audio track. It could just sit there as a MIDI track. It don't need to be part of the audio track. It's like me moving, it's like reversing, having patterns anywhere you want. It's only in reverse. You're just putting patterns anywhere you want in an organized way. You get what I'm saying? That way you know that's your vocal audio track lane. That's where you're keeping all your vocals and your audio for your vocals. But you just so happen to have that MIDI track there uh to trigger the vocoder for the audio, and that's where you want it. So you can keep it there and keep it routed to where to the vocoder send or whatever you want to do, or just it would still be there. It's not linked to that mixer track lane. And that's what I'm saying. So like whenever you drop an instrument onto the lane, it needs to create a new pattern, and that instrument track needs to be added to the channel rack. And vice versa with audio on instrument tracks, on instrument lanes. So that is just my idea.